Ended my session earlier. Sudarshan, thanks for PP. Okay, Himanshu, you have any question? First time. Okay, great. Tejas, Himanshu, first time. Great. Dilip, amazing. So this is going to be a good audience in that case. Amazing. Thanks, guys, for replies. It's just see this is how a new normal is. Everyone knows that, right? So this is how we have to live now. You communicating with me or me communicating with my teacher, that is something which is going to happen. Yes, thanks Rahul, thanks Mohammed, thanks Vikas for replies. Amazing. Thanks Sachin. Okay, so guys, type in ready if you are ready for this session, and I'm going to directly jump into the topic. Type in ready once you are ready with this session. Ready, type in RRR or ready, whatever you wish to. I just want a feedback. This is a feedback mechanism. I'm going to make sure that you are working on keyboard, okay, for complete session, complete 1.5 hour. We are going to discuss about basics of engineering and LS Dyna. Thank you very much. So let's begin with our discussion about LS Dyna. And before we directly jump into LS Dyna, let's first understand what is engineering. Okay, so these are some of the images which are popping up in front of everyone. Okay, so everyone will think that okay, this is the thing which I have to do. This is the thing which I am supposed to do, but I'm not doing it correctly. So let's understand what is engineering in the simplest possible way. Engineering is always a bridge between research and end product. So we are not researchers. That means we are having constraint with time and we are having constraint with money. So we are always the engineers who are going to convert research into an end product. That means if you are having an engineering degree, if you are having an engineering background, or if you are having an engineering know-how, what you are supposed to do, you are actually supposed to look into the research and convert that research with available time and available money into an end product. So now let's take a simple example of railways. There are various types of railway systems around the world. So there are some high speed trains like bullet train, Shinkansen in Japan. And then there are some trains which are really damn cheap. So there are some trains in India which are running at $1 per trip, even less than that. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are actually serving the end user. Okay, so if end user is demanding more, then an engineering department may ask for more time and more money. Are you guys with me? Type in with you if you are understanding what is engineering. So we are not researchers. We are not researchers. Just type it WU with you. Okay, so we are not researchers. Don't be in a dilemma that what I'm going to do once I finish my engineering, what I'm going to do once I finish my even post graduation. You are still an application guy. Make sure you are applying your knowledge and converting your knowledge for into the end user product. Okay, so it can be a software engineer, it can be civil engineers, it can be mechanical engineers, it can be ENTC. Everyone's role is to convert research into end product. That is the final line. Okay, now just a minute. Let me delete few things here. Okay, so give me a minute, guys. Yep. So previous sessions annotation I'm just deleting. Nothing fancy I'm doing, so don't worry. Yes, here you go. I'm sorry, I forgot to delete this. Yes, I'm done. Okay. Okay, guys, those who have joined, those who have joined late, guys, please get your pens and papers and type in PP. Those who joined late, those who recently joined, very warm welcome from my side. We are discussing about basics of engineering. We are going to discuss a lot about design, and we are also going to discuss a lot about LS-DYNA and CAE. Okay, so get your pens and papers and type in PP if you are ready with pen and paper. Okay, the new guys. Yes, we are almost 43 people here. Good. Okay, so let's start discussing what is exactly mechanical design, because we all are understanding this particular subject with regards to mechanical design. Okay, so let's understand with regards to mechanical design, and I hope you guys will be able to see my screen. So here you go with yes. Okay, so first important aspect in mechanical design is listening skills. Okay, the first and the foremost important aspect in mechanical design is listening. Okay, what is listening? Listening is not hearing. Okay, what you hear, it can be a noise. What you hear can be meaningless for you. Okay, but what you listen is always meaningful to you. So this applies to everyone. What is listening? Listening is actively asking correct questions at correct point of time. So when you listen, you are supposed to ask correct questions at correct point of time. Okay, and correct timing. So basically when you do go to the customer's place, now customer is not always outside the organization, customer can be always inside the organization as well. So when you go to any customer location, let's say a design location, let's say you go to some department which is not your department, but as you are a design engineer, you are supposed to go and talk to them. When you go there, you are supposed to be listener. That means you are not supposed to intervene when they are incomplete. Okay, you are supposed to intervene when they are going to complete their sentence, and then you are supposed to ask correct question at correct point of time. That is nothing but listening. So listening is really very important skill. So you can take this down. Listening is not hearing. Listening is asking correct questions at correct point of time. Okay, after you listen, you have to go back and refer to the research. You have to refer. Okay, that means you must know what is happening in the research site. That's the perfect understanding of what is exactly listening and getting back to the research. Then you are supposed to plan your activity. Planning is half done, everyone knows that, and it is a truth. Okay, so it's not something which is a lie. What is planning? Planning is meticulously understanding how much money, how much time, how much material, how much manpower, etc I am going to need, and what is supposed to be my deadline or timeline. That is something which is called as planning. Once you plan, you have to do two things at a time. The first thing is you have to speed up your activities, and one of the aspect of speeding up is teamwork. One of the aspect of speeding up your work is teamwork. So for example, I'm building metro line in my city, and I have some 1000 workers with me. What I can do, I can scale up the number of workers to 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, and I will make sure that I'm finishing my project in the least possible time, and that is nothing but the teamwork. Okay, so engineers are not artists, we are not artists, so we are supposed to always work in teams. And what is a team? Team is where you are going to get some delegations, you are supposed to do a certain task, and the other person is going to complement your task. Okay, that is nothing but teamwork. Speed is utmost important. You will use various tools to speed up the activities. Once you are done with your project, you are supposed to showcase it. Okay, if you are not able to showcase your project correctly, the one part which we saw is listening. Now the other part is communicating effectively to make sure customer understands clearly what is that you have done differently, or what is that you have done efficiently. and that is something which is customer's presentation or showcase. Customer will be happy for sure, and then you will be happy. Is it making sense, guys? Okay, are you learning something? So type in learning if you are learning something. I just want your attention to be fully focused on this particular domain of mechanical design. Okay, is it making sense? Are you learning something? So I will give you 30 seconds and draw this as a block diagram. Okay, your 30 seconds starts now. We are supposed to work like we are in a classroom. Okay, we are not supposed to work like we are listening to some 2D video. Okay, I'm real time talking to you, so make use of it, right? Make sure you are writing down, and your 30 seconds starts now. Make sure you are building some blocks and type in done once you are done writing. Type in done, so I understand most of you are done writing. Okay, so thanks Chaitrali, thanks Rahul for feedback, thanks Sankaran for feedback, thanks Akshay, thanks Farhan. I'm super happy you guys are really very active. I'm really happy that you are here to learn. Okay, good. So Amit is done, Tejas is done, Sankaran, the names are popping up very fast. Okay, Vikas is done. Sorry guys if I miss some of the names. I'm not intentionally doing it. It's just it's just scrolling up. Okay, Dilip says done. Sudarshan says done. Okay, good. Meenakshi says done. Mohammed says done. Good. Okay, nice. So shall we move on? So let's go to the next slide where we will try to understand the next step in design. Okay, the next step in design is organizational structure understanding. Now somebody may ask me, what is it to do with design? First of all, as an engineer, we must understand how any organization works, and that actually starts with the basic fundamentals of any organizational structure. Okay, so there are some annotations, so I will just disable the annotations. So accidentally, I know it happens accidentally. I'll not blame anyone, but it's a very good thing that we can disable it from here. Okay, so I have disabled the annotations. Okay, now any organization has 7 functions. Okay, always remember, any organization, I'm not talking about engineering organization, I'm talking about any damn organization, it will mandatorily have 7 functions. What are those 7 functions? Those 7 functions are marketing, sales, operations, human resources, finance, R&D, and management. These are the 7 basic functions of any organization. The green boxes which you see on screen are depicting where a mechanical design engineer or a civil design engineer can work in that particular department. Okay, marketing is halfway done. I will just halfway do it. There are some places where a technical marketing plays a very crucial role in any organization. Okay, so halfway marketing can be for you guys. Sales is always an ever growing field. It is unlimited salary, unlimited income field. There are no boundaries for sales. Operations is always about efficiency, always about getting most with whatever is available. R&D is something about brain, R&D is something about vision, R&D is something about future. And finance and HR are 100% non-technical terms. Management, you will enter eventually if you perform well either in sales or in operation or in R&D. But right now, if you are beginning your career as a design engineer, it's really very difficult that you are going to directly enter into management. Okay, now let's understand how exactly organization works. Organizations are made for profit. Am I right or wrong? So if I'm right, just type in R. If I'm wrong, just type in W. Organizations are made for making profits. Am I right? What is a profit? Somebody's profit is not somebody's loss. We are not into communist era, right? We are into capitalist regime. So what is happening? When I'm earning profits, I'm adding massive value to my customer. When I'm earning profits, I'm adding massive value to my customer. Now value is something which is measurable sometimes but not measurable most of the times, right? So if I'm adding value to you at no cost, okay, if I'm sharing my knowledge at no cost, I'm adding excessive value to you, because that is the definition of a value, right? So profit is something which is always going to drive any organization, right? For profit, you have to divide all functions in two types. The first function is cost function and the second function is revenue function. Okay, so I'm just writing down all of them except sales or the cost functions, including management. So what is happening? When you are doing sales, you are actually generating revenue. Okay, but when you are doing marketing, you are using that generated revenue to build a brand. When you are doing operations, you are actually using generated revenue to start or finish the operations. Are you getting my point, guys? So first of all, sales is the only department where you are going to get all the money in. Other departments are just going to spend the money on performing the particular function. Now if you are using lesser money in operations, a lesser amount of money in R&D, that is going to be saving for the company, and that is where computer aided engineering comes into picture. So I'm not talking in air, okay? I'm trying to give you a clear idea which nobody is going to tell you, that a particular organization thinks towards CAE not as a cost, okay, not as a cost function, not as a cost function, but as a cost saving function. Are you getting my point? Okay, so just type in understood if you have understood this. If you have questions, I am open for questions about this particular slide, because if you don't have vision where you are going to go, whatever you are going to learn is a waste. Okay, whatever you are going to learn will be waste. You have to make sure you are learning something which is going to add value. Always ask yourself a question: whatever I am spending, you are spending time right now with me, am I adding value to you because you are spending time with me? That is the question always should pop up in your head, so that you are evaluating your own self. Great, thank you guys for replies. I'm really enjoying this because you are replying very fast and relevantly. So CAE, computer aided engineering, even if it is associated with cost, it is going to save a lot of cost. Okay, it is going to save a lot of money of the organization. How? Let's go and understand how it is going to save it. Okay, so the first important part is, if you are an application engineer, okay, I'm sorry, if you are an application engineer, okay, in that case you are just focusing on tools. So it can be Creo, it can be SolidWorks, it can be Hypermesh, it can be ANSA, it can be, let's say, OSS Primer, it can be anything. Okay, now this is going down. Why? Because companies need workforce which is going to provide a solution. They don't need a workforce which is not able to provide a solution. They need a workforce which is going to provide a solution. So what is happening? The tools are not important for anyone. Tools are just the tools. Imagine some organization which is large enough is going bust. Imagine a government bans one of the organized, like what happened with TikTok in India. What happened? One fine morning, nobody can use TikTok, right? And in that case, you are not supposed to be dependent on tool. What are you supposed to be dependent on? You are supposed to be dependent on product knowledge, and this is called as subject matter technical expert. If you are planning your career towards becoming a subject matter technical expert, that is SMT, then you are on a path of sustenance and progress together. Listen to me carefully. I will repeat. If you want to take it down, take it down. What is an SMT? Subject matter technical expert is the guy in the organization which is always going to guide organizational behaviors and organizational problems in particular domain. So there can be a lot of SMTs in any large organization. So let's say I'm Ford. In that case, you will have a SMT in suspension. You will have SMT, subject matter technical expert, in engines. Now, if it is coming to engines, there can be 4-cylinder engines, 8-cylinder engines. There can be batteries. There can be vehicle dynamics. All these things will have whom? Will have SMTs, and they are the most valuable employees of any organization. Not the tool operators. I can switch tool operators. If not one guy is going to do it, I will make sure that other guy will do it, right? But that will not happen with a product engineer. So always focus using tools. So I'm not saying that you should never use tools. Using tools, you should become what? You should become SMT. That should be your larger aim. Now, after 15 years, I call myself as subject matter technical expert in one field, that is seating system. Okay, so what do we do for Indian defense, for even Australian defense, or even for Indian automotive industry or global automotive industry? We cater into seating system domain. So my expertise are in seating system. So if I came across with a question for engines, I will say no, I don't know what is happening with the engines. I am not a subject matter technical expert. But even after 15 years working in seating system, because I never concentrated on tools and concentrated on product, I can call myself a subject matter technical expert, and I can make sure that my life progresses as well as moves forward. So progress can be vertical progress, that is earning money, earning respect, and at the same time I am moving forward. Okay, so make sure you have a goal of becoming subject matter technical expert in any field you like, using tools. You should not be slave to the tools. Am I clear to you guys? So type in clear if you are clear, or just type in SMT if you are clear with this. Type in SMTE. Type in quickly. Okay, good. Tejas, thanks. Jitin, thanks. Yes. Is it making sense, guys? So you planning to do some 6-7 different software courses? That's just a waste of time and money. Why you're doing that? You should be learning what is the product for which I'm going to use the tool. Okay, and that's the most important aspect. Okay, always remember, never fall into a trap of learning too many tools. There are too many tool experts and many waste, what you can say, worst sounding training institutes. They are all fake. They are just polluting this environment. Make sure you are 100% concentrating on product you like. Now, I work in defense domain, I work in railway seating, I work in passenger vehicles, I work in aeroplane seating. You can see, if I'm expert in one type of particular product, that product can have multiple applications. Engines are not just used in automotive, right? They are used everywhere else. They can be used in gensets, they can be used anywhere else. So you have to make sure you are becoming a product engineer and not becoming an application engineer. So Samyak, this question is having enormous answers. So seats and engines are just the examples which I'm giving. There can be, let's say, there can be n number of answers, right? So let's say I'm into personal devices which are used by one person. Okay, I'm into, let's say, handhold equipments. I'm into, let's say, I am an SMT, subject matter technical expert for chassis. I'm subject matter technical expert for batteries. I'm expert for vehicle dynamics. I'm expert for vibration. I'm expert for durability. Is it making sense? Yes. So Farhan, let's imagine you are working with very good questions. Tools by mean both hardware and software. Yes. For example, let's imagine I am working on JCB excavator. Okay, JCB is a company, and using JCB, I am actually used to work on it. Now I am actually a tool operator or I am a domain expert. That will be decided if even I am using Hitachi tool. It's the same tool, but if I'm using Hitachi and if I'm able to do it, whatever hardware you throw at me, I will just learn within couple of days and I will start working with full efficiency. Is it making sense? Farhan, am I answering your question? So make sure you are actually completely understanding the domain rather than understanding just the tool. Okay, so make sure you are completely understanding the domain. Now, very apt question, Hari Vignesh. Okay, the question he is asking is, doesn't that narrow down our opportunities if we become expert in only one field? You got a heart attack, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to a generalist or are you going to go to a specialist? And how much money the specialist will charge and how much money a generalist will charge? Am I answering your question? Now I'm not saying you narrow it down right away. Make sure you are narrowing down step by step. So right now you can have a lot of things going on. I didn't become expert in seating in first year or in second year or in third year, not even after 5 years. After I worked for many years, up to 4, 10, 15 years, then I can call myself as expert. Okay, so as I said, very correct, Samyak. The point is you have to use the tool to become an SMT. I'm giving you a larger vision. I'm trying to give you a larger vision. If you are just looking for a job, tools are going to be the first mover. But are you going to call yourself a tool expert, or are you take a pride calling yourself an SMT after 10 years? That is the question you have to ask yourself. Is it making sense? So we'll move on, guys. Okay, absolutely right. The first question, I said that you should not learn a tool. You should learn a tool, but don't become an application engineer. You should learn a tool to become an SMT. Okay, I've drawn an arrow here. Okay, don't worry. This presentation, guys, will be shared with you. No problems. You are going to get a full presentation, all the links which I'm going to tell you. No worries about it at all. But I want you to make sure you are taking notes. What happens when you take notes? I will tell you. Even when I'm using computer, when I'm using digital media, I chose for a digital pen. Are you getting my point? When I'm writing something, I'm connecting my brain, I'm connecting my muscle, and I'm making sure in harmony I'm working. So engineers must always carry a pen or a pencil. And that's why you have to take notes. That's why I asked you to take a lot of notes. Okay. So even if I'm sharing this presentation with you, I will urge you guys to take a lot of notes. Okay. Making sense, guys? So type in makes sense and I will move on. Samyak, you will get another opportunity by which you are going to prove yourself. So because you didn't know, did not actually came across CATIA, that's why you lost an opportunity. Now imagine a company who is looking for a design engineer rather than a tool operator, and that company is going to offer you a lot of money after 1 month. Are you not going to gain something? So make sure you are completely focused on basics of engineering and product engineering rather than just the tool. So you have to learn the tool. How many tools are you going to learn? Are the companies going to really believe that you know all 7 tools? They are not. They are not fools. They are running the organization. They know that if you say, I know 7 tools, that means you know the interfaces of 7 tools. You are not knowing completely the 7 tools. Okay, so don't get into trap of learning too many things. Learn the technology behind it. Okay, so let's move forward, guys, and we are going to talk about digital twin, which is very close to what? Computer aided engineering. I'm sorry, very close to CAE. Okay, anyone has a question? Yes, Manoj. Yeah, thanks, Manoj. Yes, Samyak, you got it. I'm really very happy. Okay, so what is a digital twin? A digital twin can be of various things. What is first of all digital twin? It is digitally present. It is not physically present. So a CAD of this mouse is a digital twin of this mouse. But when I say a digital twin, there are some conditions. The conditions are it should match the physical properties. Okay, so if I have mass of this particular mouse, a Logitech mouse is having some mass of 150 gram, it should match in the CAD. If this mouse is having a battery, it should match in the CAD, and that is something which is called as physical property matching in digital twin. Okay, now digital twin can be of a living thing. Digital twin can be of a product. As I gave you example of mouse, that's a digital twin of a product. A human dummy is a digital twin of a human being. Okay, so that's a digital twin. Places like Singapore has a complete city available for everyone as a digital twin. Why? Because anyone who wants to run an autonomous vehicle can actually get Singapore as a city downloaded, and then he can run his autonomous vehicle in that city in a virtual environment. Okay, and it can be of a process. Okay, so you can simulate a process. Let's imagine I want to do a dynamic testing of an autonomous vehicle. I can simulate the process. What will happen if there is an obstacle? What will happen if there is a corner? All these things comes under process. Okay, now as I gave you an example, I as a human being, you as a human being, we all have a replica which is called as a crash test dummy. This is a physical product, and a digital twin of this product is a crash test dummy in Hypermesh, or crash test dummy in LS-DYNA, not Hypermesh, LS-DYNA, or in Timecrash, or in Abacus. Okay, all these things will be combined to be called as digital twin. Okay, so digital twin must always have a particular amount of replication from a physical product. Are you getting my point? So I'll give you some 30 seconds. Make sure you're writing down about digital twin. Make sure you're writing down about even SMT. I will give you 30 seconds and your time starts now. Take notes, ask me questions. Take notes, ask me questions. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay, take a lot of notes and ask me questions. Do it, guys, and type in done once you are done writing. If you want slide to be changed, let me know. I will change the slides. I'll just switch off this. Okay, so Amit, I will explain you. Should it replicate all the properties? So I will tell you. Samyak, I am going to answer your question. Don't worry. Okay, one more question here I got is, should it replicate all the properties? Based on the application. So there can be digital twins for, let's say, a digital twin for crash may not replicate all the properties which are related to thermal, because it is only the structural digital twin. So digital twins can be categorized. Okay, then you have explain. Yes, Amit, I will explain you. Does digital twin means dummy of things? It's not always dummy. So crash test dummy is something which is not a technical word. Okay, so digital twin is proper word, to be very frank. So Tejas, to answer your question, does digital twin means dummy of things? Actually, digital twin means something which is not present in a physical environment, but you can replicate it in a digital world. Okay, now it can be like you have a simulator, right? You have a flight test simulator. That's a digital twin of a process of flying. You are not actually flying, but you are digitally flying the plane. You are not going to crash, but you are digitally going to crash. Am I making sense, Tejas? Am I making sense? Okay. So basically digital twin is something which is not physically present, but it should replicate what is happening in the physical environment. We are going to come to what is a model and a prototype in a detailed way. Okay. So shall we move on? Just type in, bring it on, BIO. BIO. So simulation, Samyak, is a simulation is a type of digital twin. Simulation is not separate. Simulation is a type of digital twin. That's why I'm trying to correlate this with dummies, crash test dummies. Bring it on. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, for feedback. Let's move forward. And first, before we go and jump into model and a prototype, let's first discuss about what are the various manufacturing methods. Now, this is completely clear in front of you. I will be just giving you some pointers. Okay, so just stare at this slide for 10 seconds. Okay, your 10 seconds starts now. Stare at it and just look at these particular things: cost, size of production, customization, use of SPM, that is special purpose machines, capital investment, and labor requirements. Okay, these are the things which you are supposed to do as comparison points. Now let's move on and understand what happens in a mass production. Cost per piece in mass production is low. Mass production is this mouse, this mobile phone. This is the mass production. Okay, you have mass production in these particular areas like FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, vehicles, mass produced vehicles. They are all going to be coming under mass production. You have very high volumes. You have you are not able to customize. If I ask customization, then it automatically switches into a batch production, as simple as that. Then use of SPM, extreme use of special purpose machines. Okay, capital investment at its highest stake. So you are supposed to have a large factory, you are supposed to have expensive machinery, you are supposed to have manpower to run that machinery. Capital investment is very high, and in labor case, less number of low skill and high skill labor, but you need a higher automation labor which is able to operate it in an automatic environment. That's a mass production. Moderate to high limited customization. So for example, Rolls-Royce, that's going to be in field of batch production. Okay, so you will have a Rolls-Royce with a customization. Okay, GPM is general purpose machine for Farhan. So let's say I have a vertical drill. I get bore diameter, I'll just specify and bring it on in my workshop. That's a general purpose machine. But special purpose machine, let's say I want to drill at some 30-degree angle and I want to do only at 30-degree angle. I will build a special purpose machine for that. It will cost me more because it's not mass produced. Only I need that. Nobody else need that, right? So SPM is special purpose machine. GPM is general purpose machine. Then you have moderate to high capital investment. Okay, so sometimes it happens that you can rent a few of the machines. So let's imagine I am into some kind of a production which needs a not very special kind of manufacturing skill. What I can do, I can outsource that particular part to some other company. My capital investment will come down. Okay, that's something which is called as batch production. Here job order production is always one off. That means only one part is produced, like a dam. Okay, you are building a dam, like a submarine. So even if you are building some 6-7 different submarines, you are actually not building 6-7 same submarines. You are really building every single submarine as a different product, and that comes under job order production because it is suited for some different roles. Some may launch a ballistic missile, some may not be able to launch it, some may be just for radar jamming, some may be just for sonar jamming. So that's how the job order production is classified as. It is having extreme high cost of project. That means one part is having an extreme high cost, Here cost per piece is going to be very, very low as compared to the investment. Are you guys getting this point? What is mass production, what is batch production, what is job order production? Any product you come across, so if this Tupperware bottle is there, it is 100% what is this bottle? Can you answer this? What type of production it is? Yes, it's a mass production, right? Now let me rotate and give you this particular desk. Can you guys see my desk? Kind of old, it's little old to be frank, but is this a mass production? Yes, absolutely right, Dilip. It is a batch production. That means you have to work using general purpose machines like regular drills, all these things, and I can do some customization, change the color, change the inside compartments. You are amazing, guys. I'm loving you. Okay, you are really, really good in answering the questions. I'm really loving you. Okay, so and job order production, as I told you, it's going to be some dam construction, a bridge construction. Typically the civil construction comes under job order production, but there are mechanical companies who are having some job order production done, one off machine. Okay, that's going to be something which is called as a job order production. So take 30 seconds, write this down with your own wording. You may not have to go point by point, but what I will suggest is you write down all these points and type in done. Okay, can you do that? So write down all the points and type in done. Good. So some more guys are joining in. Those who have joined little late, a very warm welcome from my side, guys. Myself Nachiket, and make sure you are ready with pen and paper. We are discussing about what are the types of productions available. The next point which we are going to discuss is very interesting, which is model and a prototype. And we are also going to discuss about dynamic load, which is extreme important for any LS-DYNA analysis or any kind of a crash, impact, drop or blast analysis. Okay, type in done, guys. Once you are done writing, write down all the points. Don't write these description. I will give you an assignment to fill them by your own thinking. Think about it. And then, yes, hello Nadeem, very good evening. So cost per piece, size of production, customization, use of SPM, capital investment and labor requirement. Any other point you wish, you can add. Okay, I'm not saying that this is all. It can be something more also. Done? Great. Okay, all of you are done. Samyak says done. Sanjay says done. Sudarshan says done. Himanshu says done. Rahul says done. Meenakshi says done. Aman says done. Good. Okay. So let's move forward, guys. There are 7 new. Yes, Sujay says done. Dipesh says done. Good. Okay, let's move forward, guys, with the next discussion, which is okay. So types of manufacturing methods we have already seen. Yes, yeah, here you go. So this is the discussion which we are supposed to do in very detail. Why CAE and model and a prototype. Okay, so these two are different topics combined together. Why CAE is the first topic, and what is model and what is a prototype. The first important thing which we will understand is what is a model and what is a prototype. Okay, I will define only one. As we are engineers, we should only define one part. The other part should be reversed. If we remember both, we will get confused. Am I right, guys? If we try to remember both the definitions, we will just confuse ourselves and we will not be able to answer it, right? So make sure you are only remembering one. And what is a model? It is 1:1 working. What is a prototype? Okay, what is a prototype? 1:1 working model is a prototype. Okay, so write this down in your books. 1:1 working model is called as prototype. 1:1 working model is called as a prototype. That means it should always work. You cannot call an RC plane, that is radio controlled plane. Last week it happened on LinkedIn. Somebody just created a post saying that Boeing is testing indoor planes. What the hell? Nobody tests indoor planes. What is happening? What is a prototype? It should work and it should be always 1:1. It cannot be scaled. You cannot scale a prototype. As soon as you scale it, you call it as a model. As soon as you scale it, you call it as a model. So just to give you an example, which is the model and which is the prototype, guys? Left side or right side? Left side is model or left side is a prototype? Left is proto. Are you getting my point? Whatever works is a prototype. And if it is 1:1, then only it is prototype. Correct? And what is this? This is a model. It may or may not work. It is 1:1. Am I right? It is 1:1. It's not small scaled model. It is 1:1. But we don't know whether it has an engine. We don't know whether it has working environment. We don't know whether it will work or not. That's why it is called as a model. Okay. So what is a digital twin? Digital twin is never a model. I'm making some statements which are extremely important for you to progress. So write them down if you feel those statements are really important. What is it? What is a model? Model can work, may work, may not work. Model can be 1:1, may not be 1:1. Digital twin can never be a model. Okay, that's the statement, right? So digital twin can never be a model. That means whatever we build in CAE, is always called as prototype. In CAE, if I'm doing vehicle crash analysis, my vehicle crash analysis must work. That means I must have correct thickness, I must have correct materials, I must have correct joinings, I must have correct geometry, and it cannot be scaled. Am I making sense, guys? I will give you 30 seconds and write down what is a model and a prototype, and you can see these words or phrases. You can always see a word or phrase scaled model. You will never see a phrase which is called as scaled prototype. Am I making sense, guys? So type in make sense and just write down with your own words. Don't confuse yourself. There are people who are going to confuse you. Whole of the education industry is there to confuse. It is not to give correct knowledge. It is not to give correct information. Okay, so make sure you are not getting confused in all the noise around. Okay, and write down in 30 seconds what is a model, what is a prototype, and take this example. Okay, so model and a prototype are extremely important. What works is always a prototype if it is 1:1. If it is working, it is RC model, it is flying. But if it is not 1:1, and even if it is 1:1, it is flying, but you cannot sit inside it, then it is still called as a model. Okay, clear, guys? Now let's discuss this particular part. Why CAE? We discussed about, I'll just go back. We discussed about organization. I just want to remind you. CAE is for cost saving. Are you with me, guys? So type in with you if you are with me. Yes, Sanjay. In auto shows, model is presented. Type in with me, with you if you are with me, right? Why CAE is important? CAE is important to save cost. How it is going to save cost? That is what we are discussing now. Okay. So how it is going to save cost? It is going to save cost by reducing number of prototypes. It is going to save cost by reducing number of prototypes. We cannot eliminate prototypes. We must have physical prototypes, but we should reduce their numbers to bare minimum so that we are saving a lot of cost. Okay, so I'll just give you a brief idea. Let's take an example of Tata Tiago. It's a small car, small hatchback, small one. It's not a big car. This is costing around 5 lakh rupees, so 500,000 rupees to maybe 700,000 rupees, Indian rupees, as a mass produced car. What can be the prototype cost? It can be 10 to 12x per proto. So one proto may cost you some 60 to 70 lakh rupees. That's a fact. Okay, I'm not saying you something out of the wind. 10 to 12 times the cost of production will be the cost of a prototype, because you don't have mass production tools. You're just building it by cut and weld process. You need a lot of special purpose laser cutting and all these things. Whereas you need at least 40 to 60 prototypes. If you are not doing rigorous amount of CA, if you are doing just basic CA, you will need 40 to 60 prototypes. If you are not doing any CAE at all, you may need more than 150 prototypes. Now imagine from where the organizations are going to get the money from customers. Okay, so the cost of product is going to go high if there are going to be lot of prototypes produced. I'm talking about physical prototypes. If I'm able to reduce these 10 to 40 prototypes to 10 to 12 prototypes, I'm saving tremendous amount of money. Are you getting it? So are we saving or not? We are saving a lot of money by doing iterations on a digital twin, by doing iteration on CAE, by doing iterations on the not produced car, the car which is still digitally available. Are we saving the money or not? Type in yes if we are saving the money. Type in yes if we are saving the money. We are saving, right? That is the answer to this question. So what is the misconception? Misconception is CAE is going to replace physical test. That's wrong. CAE is never going to replace physical test. CAE is to replace number of prototypes. CAE is to replace number of prototypes. Now Samyak, to answer your question, so Samyak is asking question, why can't we do the whole prototyping digitally? The reason is, whatever CAE method we are applying, that is all approximate methods. Okay, those methods are going to give you approximate results with correlation of 80 to 85%. That means when you are playing with an occupant life, when you are playing with a human life, you cannot take chances. Am I right? That's why you need 100% physically tested product in real world. You will rely on prototyping, which is digital, 100% digital. You produce it and you understood that, okay, this was aluminum. I considered it as isotropic, but when I did the casting, the isotropic property changed and it became an anisotropic material. I'm giving you a real life example of alloy wheels. So you guys must have seen alloy wheels. Those alloy wheels are made of cast aluminum and they are anisotropic. They are having stress triaxiality. That means they are not actually isotropic materials. Okay, and that's where you need physical model. You need a physical proto. Okay, but you can reduce number of prototypes to do what? Two things. What are you going to achieve by reducing number of prototypes? I will come to your question, Himanshu, right? Yes, Himanshu, I will come to your question. How many prototypes are needed, right? So let's first understand this particular part. which is prototypes are always going to be helping reduce what? Two things: reduce cost, okay, and the other reduction is time to market. You are going to reduce time to market and you are going to actually reduce a substantial cost. Both things are going to put you in the lead. Now, if I want to launch a vehicle which is demanded by the customers, let's say I want a very micro SUV, a very small SUV, not a big one, not even a medium size, a very small one, but it should look like an SUV. That's the demand from the market. What I can do, I can quickly make sure I'm building digital twins and reduce number of prototypes to eventually reduce time to market. Am I right? Correct, guys? So how many CAE tests are required for car? It depends on how, what is the previous version. Are you using a previous version or you are building a complete ground up car? So if you are using, let's say I'm building Tata Nexon, which is based on Zest and the other Bolt platform, I may need less CAE. You must have seen that Zest also got 4-star global NCAP rating. First Nexon model also got 4-star global NCAP rating, right? So what is happening? You are reducing the number of prototypes by even making use of the existing products. Okay, that's a different story. But when you ask question that how many CAE tests are done, if you are building from ground up, let's say a complete new car like Tata Ultros, so a complete new car, no references, nothing, in that case you will need more number of simulations. It may take 6 months to finalize the design. Okay, it may take 6 months. But if it is, let's say, a new car, a new hat on the existing platform, it may take lesser amount of iterations. So it can be 2 months or 3 months you are ready with the final model. Am I making sense, Himanshu? Am I answering your question? Okay. Vishnu, I am recording it and I'm going to send it. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm not here just to keep this knowledge with me. I'm sharing my knowledge with everyone. Okay. So I'm going to send you the email which you received. That email will have a list of this recording as well as another recording which I'm going to send you as a bonus. So just wait till the end so that you will get it, because at the end I'm going to launch a poll and only those who are going to participate in the poll, they are going to receive these recordings, not all of you. Okay, so you not those who are going to just leave, those who are going to stay with me till end are going to get the recordings. Don't worry. Okay, so you can refer it, you can even share with your friends, not a problem. Okay, so let's move forward with what is importance of or types of designs. Okay, what are the various types of designs? Okay, the first type of design is static load. Okay, guys, before I move forward, just type in clear. Just type in clear if you are clear whatever we discussed till now. Okay, just type in clear if you are clear with whatever we discussed up till now. Else I will be happy to answer your questions. I'm not just moving forward by skipping something. Okay, are you finding it interesting? Are you finding it interesting? Yes, right. So basically we are trying to understand what is CAE, what are the various things which are being introduced in CAE. Okay, good. Yes. So let's move forward and discuss about what is a static load. What are the three types of designs? The first design is static load. I'm sorry, static load, static design. The second type is called as dynamic load, static design. And the third type is called as dynamic load and dynamic design. dynamic load and dynamic design. We all know what is static. Okay, so let's understand what is a static load. Okay, so static is something which is called as, or I will define dynamic so you guys will understand what is static, as simple as that. So what is actually dynamic load? Dynamic load is load varies its magnitude and or direction with respect to time will be called as a dynamic load. If load changes its magnitude and direction, load changes its magnitude or direction, it will be called as a dynamic load, and that is with respect to time. Okay, what is static? If load is not changing its magnitude and or direction with respect to time, that will be called as a static load. Okay, so what is important for us? Important for us to understand this part, this particular slide. Static load, we all know it is all to do with equilibrium. Am I right, guys? So whatever is static, we just make sure that it is under equilibrium. Dynamic load may or may not be under equilibrium. Now there are cases where you have static load and you are using simple principles like force is equal to stress, or stress is equal to, sorry, stress is equal to force per unit area. That's the simple static principle you are applying, and that particular principle you are applying to design something. So you are relating load with the design. Now dynamic load, static design. So this table can be an example of static load, static design. I'm not going to jump on this table, right? Dynamic load, static design, it can be, let's say, bridges. Okay, it can be flag posts. What is happening, guys? The flag posts, okay, the flag posts are actually getting 100% dynamic load. Okay, they are getting 100% dynamic load, but they are statically designed as cantilever beam. Am I right? Type in right if I'm right. Okay, so dynamic load, you are applying a dynamic load, but your design principles are still static. So you are converting dynamic load into a static equivalent by using KD, that is dynamic load factor. You must have seen this in bearing selection. Am I right, guys? So in bearing selection, you will see that this is having some dynamic load factor KD equal to some 1.2 or 1.01 value. Okay. Now the last part, which is very, very interesting, is you cannot find an equilibrium. You don't know how to design it with static principles. So it is a static load, dynamic load and dynamic design principles, which involves crash, drop, impact, and blast. Which involves crash, drop, impact, and blast. Is it making sense, guys? So we have three types of designs: static load, static designs; dynamic load, static design; and dynamic load, dynamic design. Okay, so I gave you some examples. Now it's your job to get more and more examples like this. Can you do that, guys, for me? Just make sure that you are having a lot of examples like this. Can you do that? So make sure you are writing, not for me, just for your own sake, write down a lot of examples. Okay, so just type in can do if you can do the example part. Make sure you watch a particular object with these three criterias. Any object, watch any object and imagine whether it is a static load, static design, whether it is dynamic load, static design, or whether it is a dynamic load, dynamic design. Okay, so for example, if this mobile phone I'm going to drop, what is going to happen? It may fail. That means the screen may broke down. But if it breaks down first time when I drop it, if it breaks down, I'm not going to buy the same company phone again. That's a dynamic load, dynamic design. So this phone is not primarily designed for static loads. Are you getting my point, guys? So even if this phone is 100% used or most of the time used for static loading, it is not designed for static loading. It is designed for dynamic load, and it is designed for what? It is designed for drop, because any handheld equipment is going to drop from your hand. Okay, if I have a fitness tracker, that fitness tracker, when I'm putting it around my wrist, it's going to drop down for sure. Okay, so it is a dynamic load, dynamic design. The dominating part is dynamic load, dynamic design. Are you with me, guys? 100% clear what is static load, static design, what is the definition of dynamic load? So I'll give you 10 seconds. Just wrap it up with your own words. I'm purposefully giving you time to wrap up. Make sure you're writing down. Make sure you keep this habit. Okay, write it down so that you are well connected with this. Okay, DS is dynamic load, static design. So Jayavardhan, what is dynamic load? Dynamic load is load which changes its magnitude and or direction with respect to time. So for example, let's take an example of a shaft and a pulley, and you have a very small imbalance mass, in the pulley. Okay, and what is happening? Because pulley is rotating at constant RPM, if it is 100% balanced pulley, you will call it as a static load, static design. Am I right? Because it is just generating the downward force. But if it is having a small imbalance, that small imbalance will be m dash r omega square, and that will create some kind of a imbalance load in the bearings, and that will be KD, that is dynamic load factor. So if I have a very small dynamic load factor, my bearing may not change a lot. It can still absorb some or the other shocks. But if I'm having a huge dynamic load factor, then I have to choose a different type of a bearing. Am I making sense, Jayavardhan? So you are becoming safer and you are over designing it. Hari Vignesh, imagine you are testing my table where I'm putting everything. Imagine I'm testing this table for impact or drop. What are you going to get? You are going to get a table which is immovable. That's like a over design. Now over designs work for very specific applications like off highway equipments, like defense equipments, like railways, bridges. They are all going to be dynamic load static designs with very high factor of safety. Okay, but for every single application, if you do it, you are actually wasting a lot of efforts in designing. At the same time, you are wasting a lot of efforts in manufacturing that particular part. Is it clear, guys? Railway tracks are dynamic load, static design. They are designed using static principles. Farhan, very good question, but they are having dynamic load. The load is continuously changing it, not its magnitude. Okay, it's not its direction. It is continuously changing its magnitude. On the same track, you may have a per axle load. So railways are categorized as per axle. So load per axle. So if it is say 20 tons per axle, then for a freight vehicle, it can go to 70 tons per axle. Okay, so it is the same rail is going to get higher loads. In that case, it is dynamic load static design. Clear, guys? Very good. You are asking questions. I'm extremely happy you guys are asking questions. Warhead that get blasted is dynamic load, dynamic design. Ravish, it is dynamic load, dynamic design, because there are going to be damages to shell, because there is going to be a shock wave propagation. As soon as you impact on the ground is not rigid, you are still going to get a penetration. But what is supposed to happen? Let's imagine we worked on a simple project called for IIT Delhi. So we are associated with IIT Delhi for their civil department. So we were working on a defensive side. We were creating a bunker which can protect an armor coming inside it. And for that we did some RCC mesh and all other stuff. And we did a modeling, very basic modeling, nothing from the defense side. It was for the IIT side. Okay. So what happened is the armor shell, if we consider rigid, That means all the energy must get absorbed by the wall. But if I consider armor shell as the real-time shell, that means it is having a material, that means it is having fuse, it is having all the important components and it is getting penetrated, then I will call it as a proper understanding about a physical case. It will be a digital twin. Okay, so it is 100% dynamic load, dynamic design. You cannot design it using hand calculations. You will either over design it, then what will happen? Your range will hamper because you are actually putting heavy masses. The blast energy is same and you may get a lower range. But if you do an under design, even if you get a higher range, you may not get a penetration. So you have to do an optimal design with dynamic load and dynamic design principles. For that, non-linear dynamic analysis explicit code is the only answer, guys. Non-linear explicit dynamic code is the only answer. You cannot do hand calculations. For vehicle crash, you need a solver. For defense equipments, you need a solver. For blast analysis, you need a solver. For drop tests, you need a solver. You cannot work on simple MATLAB and other codes. Am I making sense, Ravesh? It's a dynamic load, dynamic design principles. Okay, so let's move forward, guys, with I think, yeah, we are covered with what is a dynamic load. Yes, now this is very, very important. What is we are coming to our end, and then I'm going to talk about some important announcements. So what is a design validation plan? Okay, that is what we are going to discuss about. So DVP is something very simple topic, just a minute. What is a DVP? Design validation plan is nothing but before design, you have to take inputs from end user and accordingly you have to devise your tests. Tests are devised. That means you have to decide how are you going to test that particular part, and that is nothing but design validation plan. Now if you are not having design validation plan and you have directly started designing anything, and in the later stage you understand that okay, we didn't consider this is going to happen, your design is flawed. It's not a good design. So design validation plan is a very, very important activity to be performed before design. Are you getting my point? So every time you have to make sure you are designing the activity by considering whom? By considering end user. If you are not considering end user at all, it's all waste. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Okay, so make sure you are very, very clear with design validation plan. Why design validation plan for CAE, guys, is important? Because you are going to give suggestions to the designers. So suppose I'm doing a drop test of this mobile phone and I'm getting crack at 1 meter height, I'm getting crack at 800 millimeter, but I'm not getting cracks at 700 millimeter, and I have to make sure that at 1 meter I should pass. There should not be any cracks in the phone. What I'm supposed to do, I must know what is a DVP. So DVP is 1 meter drop. That's a DVP. Am I making sense, guys? How it came out? A normal average person who is standing and who is trying to get his phone out of pocket, he is at 1 meter. So if you design it for 2 meter height, you are over designing it. Now, are there phones? There are phones available which can withstand that drop, but they are ruggedized. They are for military application. They are for off-highway applications, not for the consumer level. So for consumer level, you have to find a balance between over design and under design. And that is a very, very interesting domain, which is called as optimization. Am I making sense, guys? All these things are coming round and actually joining each other. They are not separate. Okay, they are not separate. The optimization, the CAE, the CAD, the prototyping, all are together. It's not one man's job to get a very, very good product. Okay, so this is all getting joined together to optimize product for the best performance in the given condition, not in all conditions. So if I want to perform best in all conditions, I'm not optimizing. Okay, I'm not doing optimization, I'm just doing the best of the best, and I'm going to perfection. And what is happening with the companies who are having perfection as their aim? Perfection kills progress. Okay, so one of my mentor, Rajiv Talreja, always says this. What he says: perfection will kill the progress. So you have to make sure you are progressing by not actually just driving down towards the lane of perfection. Make sure you do something, fail in that, make sure you do another iteration, but fail differently. Fail fast and then fail differently. Okay, so these two are the important things in DVP. Now this is about LNO. So we are really coming to an end for session number 1. There are important announcements, and this is about LNO. And as I said, I'm going to take a poll, and only those who are contributing in the poll at the end are going to get the recording. Because in Zoom, once I launch the poll and those who answer, I get a list of those who have answered the emails also. And once I get the emails of those who have answered my question, I'm going to send a recording link to the guys who are actually answering it. Okay, it's a simple deal. Nothing, no, you should not feel bad about it. Okay, so this is about company. I started it into 2013, and then we grew to a large scale. We made sure that we are progressing. We made sure we are not only focusing in automotive. Okay, so I really want you to take you through what are the applications of various CAE, or what are the applications of LS Dyna, to be very frank. Okay, so the give me a minute. Yeah, so you can see my screen now, and here you can actually see what I'm getting at. Yeah, here we go. So this is the first part. The first part is automotive full vehicle engineering. Okay, where you are having complete vehicle which is getting crashed, or there is going to be a subsystem which is going to get under knee impact load, head impact load. That is all non-linear dynamic analysis with various principles like FMVSS, ECE, JIS. All these principles are being taken care. Okay, now there are going to be automotive full integration, which is also involving pedestrian impact. So there is a pedestrian impact, pedestrian impact, pedestrian impact, and this is how it is done. So this is the digital twin. So it may not look like a leg, but it is a digital leg. Why? Because it is having the correct stiffness, correct dimensions, and all others thing. This is not a digital, this is not a regular head, but this is a digital twin. Okay, so I'm just trying to get you through what is a digital twin. So this is a seating system domain, which is extremely happening domain in the automotive world, because there are maximum number of regulations on seating system. Okay, the maximum number of regulations, even full vehicle undergoes lesser regulations. The seating system goes for a larger number of regulations. Okay, so that those regulatory tests include the seat belt anchorage test, frontal impact test, then there are head restraint performance, luggage retention, head impact. All these tests are going to be comprised of seating system. This is a bus rollover analysis. Okay, so here what is happening, you are taking this to 800 millimeter height bus, and this platform, can you see this platform, guys? This platform is tilted till bus rolls over, till bus rolls over. And once it rolls over, can you guys see this trapezoid? This trapezoid is an occupant compartment. This is an occupant zone. So structure should not penetrate inside the occupant zone, and this is a dynamic load, dynamic design. This is a dynamic load and dynamic design. Okay, then you have defense engineering domain, where you have blast loads applied. Okay, what is happening with blast? Blast is a very small amount of time which is going to release a very high energy. So the second slide here, you can actually see in this slide, you can actually see there is a hull. Okay, this green hull is there, which is fitted later. Okay, and this hull is going to reduce lot of shocks, lot of energy getting transferred. So this was like a study project for ARD. So we are DRDO suppliers. So they asked us to get a study of explosives by using a simple test on a existing vehicle. So this is an existing vehicle, and if we add a hull, a very large hull beneath the vehicle, we are getting a lot of things which are going to save life. So this is an autonomous vehicle. Wait a second. Okay. So this is an autonomous vehicle which is undergoing a crash. Okay, which is getting crashed onto the rigid wall. Okay, that is something which we analyzed. Now, what was the importance here? The importance was, as this is a military application, as this is a defense application, you should be able to repair it on field. So these bull bars are going to actually get replaced if there is going to be such kind of an accident. So there is no occupant in it. It's a small vehicle, but it's an autonomous amphibious vehicle. So it can float in the water, it can water wade, and then it can reach to its destination. This is the example I was talking about, and this is a rigid shell. Okay, so the shell is rigid, shell in the sense the impactor, and this is a non RCC, only concrete block. And we try to understand what happens if it is just a concrete block. Nothing happens to the penetrator, it just passes through. Okay, but if we have some rebars, then we are going to get a lot of resistance to this particular impactor. Okay, so we can model civil structures. That means we can model what? We can model concrete. That is what we can do. Okay, then we have defense engineering domain, where we have these particular things which are various missile explosions. Then there are electromagnetic rail guns. Then there are some mine clearing vehicles. So all these are representations, no actual model. And this is the mine blast which we talked about. This is another application of LS-DYNA, which is called as crash rated gate. Okay, so wait a second. It is called as crash rated gate. Okay, it's very popular in embassies, in high volatile areas. The gate is not supposed to fail. That means the vehicle should stop by hook or crook using these laws, that is past 6, these regulations, and the vehicle should not cross. What is the vehicle definition? 8-ton mass and 80 km/h speed. That's the vehicle definition. Okay, so this is something which is going to be important for an industry which is manufacturing gates. Okay, then we have this crash rated fence. You can see this is a crash rated fence, where there is going to be lot of happenings or lot of things which are going to happen in this. This is not a gate. So this is like a fencing around, let's imagine you have a power plant. Okay, and you the power plant is nuclear, and you don't want any vehicle to intrude. That's your main aim, and the gates will be installed wherever there are personnel standing, but the fence will be installed wherever there is no one is standing. Okay, and these are going to be the fences which are going to arrest 80 kph and 8-ton vehicle. That's a tremendous amount of kinetic energy that you have to arrest. So it's a combination of mechanical and civil structure. Reason being, all these posts, whatever you see, are in foundation. So they must be in a foundation which is made up of concrete, and the foundation design also plays an important role. Are you guys with me? So, interesting? So type in interesting if you find it interesting. Type in interesting if you find LS-DYNA applications interesting. I really want you to look into the future where you can apply LS-DYNA skills, where you can apply these nonlinear explicit dynamic skills which are not elsewhere available. Okay, so I will be training you for next sessions like this, live training every day. Okay, so we are going to have this kind of a training. This is all done in LS-DYNA by my students and the staff. Okay, so all things can be possible in LS Dyna. This is still a novelty in industry. Okay, and when I say industry, I'm not talking about automotive. For automotive, everyone knows LS Dyna, but in defense, in railways, in space, in general engineering, LS Dyna is a novelty. That means it has a huge scope to move forward as a career. Okay. Want to know thermo mechanical solution? Can you tell us future? Yes, I will tell you. Okay. So yeah, Srinivasan, I'm coming to that. So let's go ahead and watch one of the testimonial. I'm really proud to share. Just a second. This guy, okay, just off the record, this guy is a service person, means he is working in Indian Defense. Okay, so a credible feedback. That's why I'm just posting it. So watch it, guys. Just let me know if you are able to hear the sound.
I stay at Lonavala in.
Is it audible, guys? Audible, right? Yeah.
Near to Pune, and I underwent LS Dyna course, online course during this lockdown through Elino, and Mr. Nachiket was our instructor, and really I learned a lot from this online program of LS Dyna. I really understood the basics on which the LS Dyna is built, and realized the fact that it is not the software which I need to learn, it is the mechanical basics which I need to learn, and which I should have the strong foundation more than the software, because software runs just basically on the physics and the mechanical theories on which are already framed, which everyone should realize, and I realized it after undergoing this course. And the key takeaway from this is you should have a strong mechanical engineering foundation to understand the software. And I really enjoyed the post-processing sessions, and I really enjoyed the model checking sessions and problem solving and online hands-on sessions which were conducted during the program were really interesting, which I enjoyed the most and which I learned a lot. And finally, I strongly recommend this course for all the aspirants who are willing to learn LS Dyna. You should go through this course through Elino. Elino, because Mr. Nachiket is a master, and you need to learn from the master to become a master. Thank you. I'm Pradeep.
Thanks, Pradeep. And this is from Apurva. This guy is MSc Computational Engineering, and he is in Germany right now. And I'll just read it through. I don't want to brag about it, but this is just to make sure you understand what is the importance globally. Okay, not just in India. I have recently. Okay, so I'll just read it. I have recently attended LS Dyna training level 1 course conducted by Eleno. In the training, all major concepts that one needs to understand to get started in LS Dyna were discussed. I liked interacting with Mr. Phadke very much. All the sessions were very interactive and informative. I believe that one can never replace classroom training, but Mr. Phadke was able to deliver a similar experience successfully. The classroom trainings were flexible. Even if any session is missed, one could easily watch the recording later. The examples used in this program were very practical and were real world scenarios. What I like most about the training was importance was given to the concepts behind the simulation tool rather than just using the tool. So this is about SMTE, okay? And I strongly believe in this ideology of Mr. Phadke. A lot of concepts related to CAE were also discussed during training sessions. After attending the training, I can definitely say that I have gained knowledge of LS Dyna software and can perform basic simulation tasks successfully. Considering all these things, I would definitely recommend this course to anyone who is interested in learning LS Dyna and its fundamental concepts. Okay. So these are just the primary feedbacks. I have trained 90 plus engineers in this lockdown starting March. So some of the primary feedbacks, I just don't want to put all the feedbacks length long. You can just go on my website and read them. That's not a problem. But here I just want to make sure you are understanding concepts of LSI. Okay. Now moving forward, what next? Okay, what are we going to cover in level 1? So when is the next pack? Next session is going to be on Monday, that is 13th. So you guys have 1 or 2 days to think about. Now what is going to happen? We are going to cover these many things in session number 1. Okay, so why CAE, types of techniques, nodes and elements. We covered most of the thing, but nodes and elements we didn't cover. So we are going to cover that in session 2. Now I have listed 20 sessions, but to be very frank, no session goes below 25. All sessions happen at a consequent level of 25 to 26 sessions. Why? Because I don't want to skip any of the question. I'm very keen to answer your questions like I did right now in front of you. I never skipped a question. I don't like skipping questions. If I'm an SMT, I should behave like an SMT, and that's what I'm doing. Okay. So why CAE? There are going to be techniques, input possible in LS-DYNA, basic theory, and today for the batch number 4, we started our first calculation, that is Kruskal analysis. So we are already in Kruskal analysis, RUPD model and all other stuff. And we are going to do a lot of post-processing. There are going to be post-processing sessions. There are going to be hands-on sessions. All sessions I am trying to make live, okay, so that I'm continuously interacting with you guys. Okay, then understanding CAE, seating system, domain specific product training, all these things will be covered in level 1. Okay, then what is the special offer for today? Okay, so we are coming to an end. The special offer is not 25,999, it is half of that. Okay, it is 12,999, straight away 50% discount. And now there is going to be this link which I'm going to send you all. Okay, so the link is this Razorpay link, which is going to be open till tomorrow. So let me just get it there. Yep, here you go. So Razorpay link is copied in the chat box and pasted here. Can you see this, guys? Okay, so this is the Razorpay link. It is already active. Nothing I have made as a change. You can see this Razorpay link here. I can change it to, I'm going to change it back to 25,999. So, oh, okay. So I sent it to Sudarshan Narasimha in a private. Okay, here you go. Yep. So this is what is going to happen. This is the Razorpay, and the course content is going to be shared with you guys. Okay. So you can see the Razorpay link. This is live. I can change it live here to 25,999 as soon as the offer ends. The offer is going to end on Sunday midnight. Okay. Sunday midnight. That is 12th midnight. We are going to end this offer. But if you are going to pay it, or if you are going to make it today, what is the best offer I can give you? I'm going to give you a bundle of 15 sessions. This is a bonus full seating system product course, 15 sessions, which I trained engineers in. 9,999, that's the cost, almost 10,000 rupees. I'm going to give you free if you are going to join today before 11:15 or 11:59. That is midnight. Okay. So if you are able to join today before midnight, this will be the bundle which I'm going to, I will just show you where it is. So if you go to YouTube, I'm not going to show you because it's a private link, so you will not be able to open it, but I will just show you the screenshot how exactly it looks like. Okay, and this bundle will be free for you if you are going to understand, if you are going to actually pay the amount 12,999. This complete session, 15 sessions, will be free for you. Okay, so if I go to, I'll just show you the screenshot. I'll take a screenshot and tell you. If I go to playlists, yeah, here you go. So guys, can you can you quickly see? Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to take a snipping tool. Okay, so this is how the 1 hour, 2 hour session. So all 15 sessions will be with you guys. Okay, I'm just sharing it. Yep, here you go. So failed to open the file. Okay, I got an error. Just a second. Yes, I'm pasting it in. Yep. Can you see this, guys? So this is how the sessions will be. There are going to be 15 sessions, online session series of 14 videos, and the 15th one will be with me live. And this is what we are going to do. And this is what you are going to get. If you are joining using this link, Razorpay link, you can do EMI payments, you can do direct payments, you can do UPI payments, you can do any sort of thing. And it is all inclusive GST. So you are going to get a GST bill. And this is what it is. The timings will be 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. every day. Okay. So the timings will be 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. because my other batch is running from 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Okay. That batch is going to end soon. So we are going to have 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Straight away 25 sessions, 25 sessions. And seats, yes, seating system session will be self-learning, but you will be having access to me every day. So if you learn it, let's say in first 10-15 days, or well, let's say in a week, you are supposed to ask me questions on seating system, guys. If I'm giving it to you free, then I'm answerable to you. Okay, so you are supposed to ask me questions. All these seating system product course will be given to you not on the day one, because I want you to first focus on LS Dyna, and then we have to move forward. So Samyak, you have LS Dyna for students available, and Abhishek, seating system session is free. Okay, so the course content I can share with you, but it is actually consisting of all the regulations, all the seat as a product, seat as a type. It is a free of cost course. Okay, if you join it today, if you join the LS Dyna course today, the seating system session course will be free for you. Okay. Yes, so solver access, Mohammed, I'm going to come to that. You have to arrange your own solver. To be very frank with you guys, I have my own solver, but that just one because I'm in a lockdown. My office is in a containment zone. That's Kasba Pet, that is core area of Pune city. All my 20 licenses, LS Dyna licenses, are in my office. I cannot give you access because I cannot go to office. So guys, please arrange LS Dyna with your own sources. Please arrange it with Arup, or please talk to ANSYS guys. Get a student version for free, and if not, I will try to arrange something from office. But now the bad news is the lockdown in Maharashtra and in Pune, especially Pune and PCMC, it is going to be very, very strict from 13th for next 10 days. Okay, so before we end our theory sessions, I may get access to my computers. I may arrange them here in my home, and I will try to give it access. Okay, but you have to believe me. Okay, you have to believe. Okay, can you share course content? One important question is solved. Yeah, so am I don't want to bluff you guys. Okay, I'm just having one laptop with me which I'm talking to you. That laptop is capable of running one or two core simulation, not much, because it will just heat up and die. Okay, and the education version is either Dynamo, or you can go to Arup. So you can just go to Arup. Okay, I will just write down here. You can go to Arup, that is one. You can go to Dynamo, that is second. Okay, you will get 1 month access. Now I will tell you, I'll guide you how to get a free 1 month access, but don't do it right now. Tool is not important. You get a tool and you may not get anything. There is other way around. ANSYS has taken over LS Dyna. If you have access to ANSYS, mostly you will have access to LS Dyna. That's what I think. Okay, so you may, I'm not a user of ANSYS, but I don't know. I will check with the with Arup, because I buy licenses from Arup. I will check what can be done, and then I can just push you through. Okay, so you have Arup, you have Dynamo. You no ANSYS, nobody is going to entertain you because it's a very new company. LSTC is very new company to ANSYS. Even if they have yeah, you have to purchase extra, I know that, but that is one way around. The other way around is universities. Okay, so if you are actually in universities, you can ask them to give permission to run their systems. Okay, and you can get a remote access and you can run their systems. Okay, that is something which is very easily possible, and by the time I will try my level best to get you an access. Okay, that's my I'm not giving you any commitment, but believe me guys, I'm not the man who is going to run away from the situation. Okay, we will try to do something, but at least I should know you are interested in doing that. I cannot just arrange it right away. If nobody is interested, it will be just waste of time for me. Am I making sense, guys? I really don't want to bluff anyone. Okay, yes, so coming back to the polls, let me just ask few questions to you. Okay, so you keep asking me, seating system as a product has lots of valuable insights. Sanjay was the part of it. I'm extremely happy Sanjay is here. I was not knowing he is going to come here. So I suggest you guys join the course. Yes, thanks a lot, Sanjay. Thanks for coming and giving the feedback. It's really very heartwarming to see past students coming back and attending a full session. So Sanjay was here. Even one of my first employee. Okay, so as I started my entrepreneur journey, Manoj is here, who is my one of the first employee. Okay, back in, what was that, Manoj? 2010, 2010, 10, 11, 10 years ago, right? So he is still here. He is in ARAI now. He's working in ARAI, and yes, 2011. So thanks, Manoj, for joining us. Thanks for again he was attending for a complete 1 hour, and I'm very happy that people are still finding it interesting, and it is really interesting. So somebody asked me a question. I will just try to answer that. What is the scope? So we were joining as freshers in 2005. We joined as freshers in 2005 in LS Dyna, and here we are now, and we are still making use of LS Dyna to the biggest of its extent. And I'm telling you, there is tremendous scope in defense, railways, non-automotive fields. To be very frank, automotive is very stagnant. People are there in automotive, the market is matured. But what I showed you as applications were mostly the non-automotive applications. The civil engineers, I'm urging you right now, the current batch has 3 civil engineers. The current fourth batch has 3 civil engineers who are doing continuous engagement with me every day, and they are learning. Okay, so civil mechanical, there is a thin line for structures. If you go for fluid and other stuff, I know it's little bit different, but for other stuff, it is still the same. Okay, and I'm just creating a simple poll, 2 or 3 questions. Okay, so the questions are going to be okay, I'll add another question. Are you a fresher? Okay, so I'll just ask it like this. What is current status? And the answers will be, are you a fresher? Are you a CAD engineer? Are you a CAD engineering professional? CAE professional? Are you a post-grad student? Okay, and other. Yes, here you go. And I'm launching my poll, guys. Any questions you have? Anyone has a question? Hari Vignesh, I sent you an email. How many of you received my email, which is like 6:45? I sent an email from my personal address. Okay, yeah, you received it, right? So that's my personal address. That's what I sent. It's not an automated email. So it's a personal address. So you can just ask me. You can always contact me on LinkedIn. I'm always available on LinkedIn. You can just so Srinivasan, you have problem in timing. So what is the best timing suitable for you? Is it like late evening or is it like early morning? So maybe for the next batch, I will arrange it. This is the best timing which I thought about. Yes, correct. So nupadke@gmail.com. That's my personal email address. So you can directly talk to me. Okay, so Srinivasan, you are in Poland, but in that case, you will be in it will be afternoon for you. Am I right? So are you working somewhere? It will be the same timing, same like this. Just I think 1 hour early. So 6 to 7:30 instead of 7 to. So I don't think we have 6 engineers right now attending from Germany, two from this guy, this Sweden, 2 from Sweden, 6 from Germany, and 11 from US. Okay, so it is 6 p.m. Yeah, it is 6 p.m. It is 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Yes, so we are going to keep it for US guys 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Okay, we are going to keep for you guys 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Yes. Okay, any other questions, guys? Even with the technical part, even with the technical part, Akshay, there is no placement assistance after this course. Reason I will tell you, we are launching a placement assisted course once we are resuming our operations. Okay, it is really bluff to offer a placement assistance on online domain. I really don't know what is going to happen with those who have enrolled with placement assisted courses elsewhere. There is nothing like placement assurance. We have to work it together. Okay, but I will talk to you. I will be happy to talk to you. Seating system with LS Dyna training, it is with regards to product Mohammed. It is not with regards to CAE. Nothing about CAE we discussed. That's the beauty of it. So we discussed everything about product, seat, types of seats, variations of seats, what are the various products used, what is recliner, what are the various types of recliners. All these things we discussed, not single thing about CAE, because that is not important right now for you guys. So Srinivasan, yes, I will share the time. The time schedule is going to be 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Sundays will be off. All other days we are going to do the session. Okay, so every day we are going to meet, except the Sundays. So Shankaran, yeah, so I'm working on these timings. Can you do uh, so the other timings are like late night, but that is not a plan right now for me. But still, I will try to work for you. Okay, so Sankaran, just be in touch with me. I have sent you a private, I think I have sent you a private message. That is my email address, just so that you don't lose it. Okay, so this is my email address. Just get in touch with me. We will come on Google Meet and talk for 5-10 minutes. Okay, is it fine, guys? Yep. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. So I'm launching the poll. Can you see my poll? So I'm asking you some questions. Try to answer. It will be in on your screen. 3, 5, 6. Will metal forming? Yes. So we are going to do one simulation for metal forming. One simulation for metal forming, Krishna, we are going to do. For sure, we are going to do it because there is tremendous scope in metal forming. We are going to do. We are right now working. What is advantage of joining this course? I am handling a team of 18 engineers. Okay, Arup is the name. Arup Abhishek is the name. It's a UK based company. So we are having a team of 18 engineers who are working on LS Dyna. So day in, day out, we work on regular problems. This is our training division where we want to share knowledge which we are gaining in the regular field with you guys. Okay, so 35 votes out of 42. So can you guys please vote? 36, 37. Okay, so all 100% votes I'm just counting in. Those who are going to vote, I'm just going to share the link. That's the simple stuff. Prerequisite, nothing. You should be just the mechanical engineer and you should have an interest in this field. No prerequisite. I will take responsibility that you are going to actually learn. Nothing, no prerequisite required. Everything is perfectly fine. Okay, so 3 guys are remaining for voting. Amal, no prerequisite. I have 4 years in Excel, but I don't know dynamic. Yes. So Srinivasan, you should learn. It is extreme important for you to make sure you are progressing. This is a progress. Yeah, Dynamore is a website, Nadeem. Dynamore is also a company. Yep. So 40 votes and I'm really very happy. 40 votes. Very good. Okay, my daughter is here. Any batch with Hypermesh? Yes, Mandar. There is a batch with Hypermesh and LS Dyna. So Mandar, please get in touch with me. I'm sending you my email address. Please make sure you're getting in touch with me on my email address. We are starting Hypermesh plus LS Dyna batch, but they are 2 different batches. So it's not going to happen in one go. It's not going to happen in one go. Okay. So get this idea. I'm also interested. Yes, Abhishek, I will inform. But as I said, Hypermesh will be taken care by Suhas. LS Dyna will be taken care by me. I cannot teach both because it's just exhausting. You can see that, right? So you will get access to Hypermesh. We are closing our first batch of Hypermesh online format. Okay. So we will be moving forward with it's on 16th of April. The first session for Hypermesh is going to launch. The first free session for Hypermesh is going to launch on 16th of July, not April, 16th of July. Yes, so can we use HM pre-processing for LS Dyna Solver Deck? Yes, but in this session, we are going to use LS Prepost. That is a free tool available. So guys, I will just give you the interface. This is what LS Prepost is. Yes, I'm going to publish the poll. I'm going to end the poll and here are the results, guys. Can you see the results? Yes. So Tanmay, I'm going to teach everything in LS Prepost. So I will share with you guys. Here you go. I'm sharing LS Prepost with you and okay, wait a second. This is a free tool, free from LS Dyna. So you can easily get into, yeah. Can you see my screen, guys? This is LS Prepost. So this is the interface which we are going to work on. But more than interface, this is very, very important. Okay. So there are CA professionals already. There are freshers who are searching for job. There are CAD engineers and there are postgrad students also. And nobody felt bored. I'm extremely happy. I was entertaining. Thanks a lot, guys. So this is LS Prepost. This is how you just interfere, get an interface with it. Yes. So Mohammed, what are we going to do? Once we do LS Dyna with LS Prepost, which is a free tool, Hypermesh batch is going to launch. And you can join that Hypermesh batch because LS Dyna batch and Hypermesh batch can go hand in hand. And then you will be actually getting a lot of information about Hypermesh. But we are purposefully making it separate. So there is going to be Hypermesh plus LS Dyna. So guys, I'll just show you how it is. So I will open this Word file. You can see my screen, right? So here you can see this Hypermesh, understanding FEA, complete know-how, creating basic geometry. So this is Abhishek. This is the course content which I will put in the. I will just put in right now in the. Here you go. I'll put in our presentation. Okay. So here you go. So this is the course content for Hypermesh. Okay, and this is also this is for another 20 sessions. So this presentation will be with you guys. The fees and all I will disclose it to those who are interested. Just get in touch with me. Those who are interested, you have my details. I will add my details also here. They are going to be, so I'll just copy this box and I will add my details. Nachiket, you know me now, and it is nuphadke@gmail.com. That's my email address, and you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, and you can even drop me a WhatsApp message on this number. Is it fine, guys? So this is what this is where I can be reachable. Yeah, so I have shared HM course content with you, and I have even shared complete details who I am, where I should be reachable, right? And my company company website is www.lno-elc.com. That's my company email address. Okay, good. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for attending. It's almost it's 9 o'clock. I'm really very sorry I kept you waiting for half an hour, but thanks a lot. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you are making best use of this offer. Make sure you are paying it today. Make sure you have another 3 hours to decide. You discuss with your family, discuss with your friends, get a credit card, get onto EMI, pay it, and I will be sending you the seating system course content, and we will be meeting on Monday. Okay, and the link, regular link, will be open till 12th of midnight. Okay, yes, thank you very much. Thanks guys. Thanks Tanera Pandey, Mr. Pandey. I'm sorry I didn't pronounce your name. Amal, thanks a lot. Manish, thanks a lot. Have a safe night, guys. Have a very good night. Make sure you are not leaving home without any reasons. Make sure you are staying safe and staying healthy. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for making sure you are available here. And I'm really very happy. So Abhishek, you will get a solver access by some or the other method. I don't think that's a very big issue, but make sure that you are getting some or the other access. I will try to help you out. Don't worry. I will try to help you out. Okay. Thanks, Sanjay. Yes, thanks to see you again. Thank you very much. Yep. See you guys. I'm ending this meeting. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for attending for 2 hours. And amazing. I'm really thankful for your patience. Nobody complained, and thumbs up to you guys. See you. Have a good night. Yes, Abhishek. I'm going to share presentation right away, even the video. Don't worry. In next hour, 1 hour, I'm going to share. Yes, stay home, stay safe, guys. Bye.